there are several different bobbin cases that are out there, and I'm going to show you a few that I have here today. This particular one is, I call it a bobbin case with a finger on it. I'm sure there's probably a more technical term, but that's what I call it. And right here, there's a little hole right there at the top of that finger. And what happens is you thread that hole with the thread. And what that does is that's going to put more tension on the thread coming out of the bobbin case. And that's what you want when you're in free motion. Because if this thread is too loose, that's what's causing the thread to pop to the top of your fabric. So what you want to do is you want to put more drag on this thread as it comes out of the bobbin case. And this is one way to do it is by threading the finger on here. Now the other thing that you can do is you can tighten the bobbin screw. Now if you look on the side of your bobbin case, there's going to be a screw there. And what you're going to want to do is you want to put your screwdriver in there and you want to turn it to the right. And when you're going clockwise, you're going to be tightening up the bobbin case. It's the old adage, righty-tighty. So you want to make sure that you're tightening up the bobbin case. And what you're going to do is you're going to tighten it. You're going to put it back on your machine, do a few practice stitches. If the bobbin thread is still coming to the top, you want to tighten it down a little bit more. You want to do this in small increments, because if you don't, you might get it too tight. So it's easier just to do small, 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 small till you get it to where you want it to go. Now there are other bobbins out there too. If you have an embroidery machine, most of the embroidery machines comes with a special bobbin that's already been calibrated for free motion work, and that's what this particular bobbin is right here. It has a little pigtail, which is probably hard for you to see on the camera, but there's a little tiny pigtail right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook the thread through there, and here again, that's going to put drag on the thread as it comes out. This bobbin case too, it's got a screw right here where I can adjust the tension. There's a small one at the bottom, but I want the big one right here. I want to be able to adjust that screw. Here again, you're going to do it in small increments until you get the tension so that there's no longer any bobbin thread coming up. Now you may have to go back and adjust your top tension a little bit too as you're working with this in order to make sure that the top and the bottom balance out. Now this is a normal bobbin case. There's no pigtail, there's no finger on here. So I can pretty well guarantee you're going to have to adjust this bobbin case for free motion work. Again, it's got the screw assembly on the side, and all you're going to have to do is tighten it up. Now, I, for one, do not really want to have to go around and mess up with the bobbin cases that came calibrated for my machine. And if you're not comfortable adjusting the bobbin case that came with your machine, then you might want to buy a second bobbin case. And what I would strongly suggest you do if you're going to buy a second bobbin case is right here I put some fingernail polish on here, and that way I know that this is the bobbin case that I'm fooling around with. This is not the one that was calibrated for my machine. And that way you can be assured that you are always going to have your working bobbin case so that when you go back to normal sewing you don't have any tension issues. The other thing that you can do is, let's assume that on this particular bobbin right here that this is your original bobbin case, and you can't, for whatever reason, you don't want to buy a second bobbin case. What you want to do is you want to get a toothpick and some fingernail polish, and right here where the screw assembly is, where the indentation is for the screwdriver, you're going to put a drop of fingernail polish there and one right here on the other side. And that way, when you have to turn your screw back to where you started, you're going to know where you started. Now on the other for the drop-in bobbin cases, this is what your drop-in case is going to look like. Your bobbin obviously is going to fit right in there. Right here on the side is the screw assembly. You're going to do the same thing on this one. You're going to tighten it down. It's going to go clockwise. You're going to turn it clockwise. Now, a lot of the machines, you can buy a separate housing, just like this. You buy a separate housing, and this is the one that you can do all your adjustments to. Again, I would suggest you put a little bit of fingernail polish right here so that you know that this is the one that you've been messing around with. Now, on this one too, if you decide not to buy a separate housing, put a little dot of fingernail polish here, a little dot of fingernail polish right there, and now you know exactly where that screw started off so that when you do need to turn it back, you know exactly where you started out.